Hello everyone. Let's see if I can make this short. I am feeling amped up because I just got off of my Rise training group meeting. I don't know what to call it. Anyways, and on our call today, we were talking about how to help encourage people with their dreams and their visions and like how to walk them through it as a leader. And oh my gosh, like so many ideas or like I guess connections happen when we were on this call because I realized there are certain things that I've been doing for people in my personal life that I haven't been sharing here on this platform that I should speak out loud because I'm attempting to show up more to teach the lessons from my own experience of things that are working well and like how I'm getting to where I am so that others can get to that point too. Okay, so it's probably going to be an IGTV, whatever. So for dream building, if you want to write this list, I just jotted it out really quick. I could go into more detail if you want more detail, but here's some ways that I've been able to have like wild, crazy dreams, like you've probably seen them if you are following me anywhere, and make them a reality. For example, just to give you context, I'm sitting right now in my RV. I'm almost about to move into it as of next Monday, and as of like a few months ago, that was just a dream that Matt and I threw out there that seemed kind of crazy and like we didn't know how it was going to happen. We knew we wanted to go back into a nomadic life. We wanted to, I guess, like prioritize our energies differently than doing a rental home and having to move like every year based on where we wanted to live. So this is some of the things that we took and some steps that we've shared with others that seem to have helped others. So I'm going to repeat them to you too. All right, so when you have your dream, when you have your vision, when you know what you want, when you're like, I really, 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 really want this, and you can just feel that that's like what you're meant to be doing, but for some reason you're just not yet. I don't know why I have this phone call coming in. Okay, hopefully that did not interrupt this video. Anyways, I never get phone calls. That's so ironic. Anyways, okay, so number one is affirmation. So listen to your words of when you're talking about your dream. If you're like, oh, like I just wish that I could do this, but blah, 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 stop doing that. If you hear yourself about to say the word but, stop yourself in your tracks or erase whatever you got out and say like something to positively affirm it instead. So when I wanted to move into an RV, I said, okay, like I want to be more nomadic, okay, like I'm ready to downsize our living so that we can shift our budget to things that are more important to us, like okay, like I'm ready to own my home rather than rent it. Things that are just positive affirmations, and they don't have to be like super inspiring words. They don't have to sound like they need to be on a billboard. It's just something that you are repeating to yourself to tell yourself like this is okay. Yes, I agree with this idea. Like you need to put yourself on board with the idea. Negative affirmations, like the opposite of positive affirmations, are words that include the words like not, but, don't, can't, things that can be ended with in apostrophe T. Those you need to circle back to. If you hear yourself say it, then rewrite and re-say the sentence in a way that involves an actual action word rather than a limiting word that includes the word not somewhere in it, or no in it, or but. So I hope that makes sense. I can go into that in more detail in the future if you want. Just let me know. Okay. So that's just like starting to speak it out loud. That's usually the nerve-wracking part, right? Like admitting. I feel like this is like rehab recovery or something. So admitting that you have a dream, step one. All right, intention setting is step two. So once you realize you actually do want to do this, then you need to start getting clear on like, what is it that you actually want to do? So I knew that I wanted to be more nomadic, but like, what did that actually mean? I wasn't sure. Like, I knew I didn't want to go back to the boat. I wasn't affirming that because I'm not ready for that. But I knew that I did want to be able to travel more, and like that, you can't really have a house and do that. So, well, I guess you can. But that's not the type of traveling and nomadic lifestyle I wanted. So what I did want was to have my home with me as I go to new places. So get really clear on what you actually want. Either write it out, talk it out, take a video of yourself explaining what you want, like, so that you can revisit it, and do it often. So every few weeks, maybe revisit that and see if your intention is clear. Moving on. Okay, now that you know what you actually want, then usually it's going to feel like there's a giant mountain in front of you, and it's probably going to be pretty overwhelming, and that's pretty normal because fear is going to put itself between you and that thing you want to keep you safe, because your ego and your fear is there to protect you from hurting yourself. So like, if you're not physically able to do something, it's going to be like, no, don't do that, because it wants you to survive and stay alive. So you have to convince your own mind that you are actually capable of doing this thing that you are setting out to. So what that means is that you need to show and prove to your brain, like, I can do this. So that will involve small practice action steps. Okay, so for example, when I wanted to move into an RV, become more nomadic, this right here is a practice action step by me simply like having the RV. That's like, okay, well now I have it, so obviously I'm one step closer. But before that, I didn't have the RV. So what did I do? Matt and I went to RV sales places like every weekend, and we just walked around. We didn't have a plan. It was really actually unclear as to how it was going to work, because we had a van we had built out. We didn't know like if we needed to sell that first, and then like after enough action steps of showing like that we're showing up to this place, we want this, we're not going and like looking at other things. We did look at a couple houses, but that actually helped us get clear on what we did want, because certain actions that we did practice proved to be unfit for our desires. So after so many times of showing up, it just clicked, and suddenly it was like a door open, and your mind was like, okay, I'll let you to the next stage if you can prove to me that you can climb this mountain. So find little steps towards that dream of yours that will get you there, and you will allow yourself there, because chances are you're the person that is actually in your own way. Next, okay, mindset shift to positivity. This is kind of with the affirmations, but really just seeing where are you blocking yourself? Like, as you do these action steps, you're going to notice excuses that you're coming up with that maybe other people aren't even telling you, but you're telling yourself, and you need to question all of them. Like, is this true? Like, okay, like, I don't have enough money to buy X, Y, and Z. Well, okay, maybe that statement is true, but is there other ways to get the money to get to that step? Maybe so. Are they worth it if that's what your dream is? That's a question for you to ask yourself. Okay, maybe you don't have time for X, Y, and Z. Okay, maybe that's true. You have a limited amount of time. But are there ways to reduce your time for other things so that you can open up more time to your dream? Probably. Are there ways to delegate certain things out to other people to allow you to get one step closer to that dream? Probably. So finding your own limitations and essentially working through them to where those don't exist anymore. Next, I have found that tools and rituals and habits are so fundamental for keeping us consistent and like creating change like that lasts. So I don't know what it is, psychologically about totems, like, you know, this is my pen for writing my goals and dreams. Like, it's actually a pencil. This is my pencil for writing my ideas and stuff. So every time I go to use this pencil, I know why I'm here, and it helps me focus. I was telling the people on my Rise group that every time I show up to my class, I bring this Calm CBD roller and I put it over my eyebrows, mostly because I get eye strain and it just relaxes them and feels nicer. However, it reminds me to stop overthinking and to listen and to be open to inspiration. So it's become a totem and like a power object for that intention, so that I can remember what my focus is on, and to be very, very pinpointing my mindset to that thing. I feel like this is not coming through clearly, but for example, with the RV, what was my tool on that? I don't know if I had a tool on that specific one, like an item, but I did have that habit, which I already shared with you, was every weekend when Matt and I would want to go on a date, we made it a ritual to just go and walk around RVs. Like, we shifted our date structure to do those. Next, consistent check-ins. So if, as me as a person that's helping people build their dreams, and if you are trying to be this person too, like, this is not applicable if you're trying to dream, but for me, trying to lead you through it, I love hearing people's dreams and love hearing all of those previous items, because then as we're naturally talking, okay, I know how to tie this to you if you're just trying to dream right now. Okay, tell somebody, tell somebody this idea, this crazy wild dream that you have. So, and go into as much detail and tell them all these crazy things that you're doing that Lisa told you, this might help me actually get there. Because then when you talk to them, they're going to be like, yeah, how's that going? How is that wild dream going? People were doing that when I wanted an RV. They were like, hey, are you still trying to move into an RV? Is that still a thing? I put my dreams on the internet on purpose because I want people to ask me how is that dream happening? So that way I have to respond oh yeah, I'm still practicing this, or this, versus if I just hide it and only tell myself, the odds of me actually achieving that dream is probably very small. And then lastly, one that I actually feel is the most important, but sometimes you have to go through the rest of that list before your ego will allow you to get to this point, is your intuitive alignment. So check in with your soul. Is this dream actually aligned with what I want deep inside? Whatever that feeling, that intuitive feeling that you believe in is, ask that part of yourself, is this what you really want? Is this where your life is flowing, or are you forcing something? Because sometimes you may have thought that the idea and the dream was this. For example, before knowing that I wanted to move into the RV, I thought I wanted to buy a house. I thought I wanted to buy a house because I thought that I wanted to own something, and I thought all these different things, which helped me get clear on those first steps. However, my life wasn't flowing in that direction. Each time I was taking those practice actions, they were good practice, but they were stumbling and not getting me closer to that vision. So I checked in with myself and asked myself, is this what I really want, or am I missing the point? And somehow the thought of the RV popped in my mind, and from my intuitive self, and realized, oh my gosh, that's what I want. That's so much more aligned with what I want. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I want to know your dreams. Tell me your dreams below, because I would like to check in with you if I know you and we chat like that. And if we don't chat and you don't want me to like randomly message you, then tag a person below.